Oregon is an incredible state for overland travel. Over half of the state is made up of public lands, and some of the best of it is found in the Oregon Cascades. There are dramatic volcanic peaks, millions of acres of forests, incredible night skies, and thousands of miles of remote forest roads. I was there to do a chunk of the Oregon backcountry discovery route with a brand new off-road trailer, but first I had to get to Bend to pick it up. We are in a lovely isolated spot in the Rogue River National Forest, me and my son again, and we're actually just a couple of miles outside of Crater Lake National Park. It's a couple miles that way, and since we're so close, we decided that we'd go visit yesterday. I honestly wasn't expecting my almost 2-year-old son to appreciate Crater Lake, but I guess it's impressive no matter your age, and I'm glad we made the stop. The lake in the ancient collapsed volcano is definitely a beautiful sight. Because of its depth and lack of sediments, it has an incredibly vibrant blue color, and the scale of the cold air is awe-inspiring. We spent an hour or so walking around, admiring the sights and playing in the last of the rapidly melting snow before heading off to find our campsite in the nearby national forest. This morning we're going to pack up and then basically just kind of start exploring. I have a ton of routes in this area heading up through the Cascades. So we're going to head north, and the goal is to get to Bend in the next few days.
I see the sunrise creeping in. Everything changes like the desert wind. Here she comes and then she's gone again.
There are thousands of Forest Service roads in the national forests around Crater Lake National Park, so I've done very little planning other than linking together the unpaved roads on a map. Sometimes this can be the best way to explore and find new places, and other times it means constantly running into roadblocks and problems.
We are starting to see some patches of snow. Some of them are kind of coming across the road. I did just drive across one that was across the road. No big deal, but it could get worse because we've got a little more climbing to do. So we'll have to see how this goes.
The patches of snow kept getting bigger, but as long as I could see clear road on the other side, I kept going. I was alone, but not concerned. If I did get stuck, there were plenty of trees around to winch from.
Never mind. Yeah. That's a little more than I want to take on by myself. If I was someone else with me, I would 100% go for that. But, not by myself. So, I'm gonna back down. I'll take the other route. I can already see the comment coming that I should have used snow chains, and actually, in snow like that, snow chains can often make things worse. The reason is you've got deep snow, deeper than my axles, and then a thin crust of ice on top, and you want to stay on top of that ice. If you use snow chains, it chews through that top layer, and you end up digging into it, and that's when you end up buried.
Our detour took us along the highway around the beautiful Diamond Lake heading north. It wasn't long before I turned off onto progressively smaller and smaller roads heading off into the forest. My route ended up following a series of dams, canals, reservoirs, and pipelines, all part of a large hydroelectric project that was constructed deep in the national forest in the mid-50s.
Oh no.
I'd run into yet another roadblock. This time it was an officially closed road, which isn't mentioned anywhere on the Forest Service's website.
On the way down here, I did notice that we passed a little trailhead called Warm Springs Trail. So I think what I'll do is stop and we'll get him out. We'll do a little hike. That way we can get him out the vehicle. We can have a break from the back seat. Alright, you guys, put your legs out.
Well, that's a beautiful waterfall. That's not what I was expecting at all when it said Warm Springs Trail. There aren't any springs here, but there's that. I think it's worth coming down here. Let's take a look. And while we were stopped getting ready, I took a look at the maps, and I think I found ourselves a way through. The bypass is the closed road, and it takes us to a recommended trail that says it has views up there. In fact, there's two to choose from. One says waterfalls, one says burnt forest views.
Downside to planning routes like this on just a map is it gives you no indication of the condition of the road that you're taking. Like this one I'm on now is a paved road, so I assumed it would be quick and easy to get along, and there are a bunch of trees down across it. Thankfully they've all either been cut or they're far enough over that I can drive around them, but it does make me wonder what the next road is going to be like. The one that connects, it's an unpaved road that connects this to the Onyx Trail. Well, this is looking good so far. This is actually better maintained than the paved road I just came off. Actually looks like someone's trimmed the bushes and the trees either side of this road. So we might be in luck. Fingers crossed, we might make it through.
In case it's not obvious, I was completely making this route up as I went. Sure, I'd run into several dead ends, but I was also having fun exploring the unusual roads. The latest detour ended up taking us along some great Forest Service roads with beautiful views across the tree-covered landscape.
I've reached the fork in the road where I can choose to either do the burnt view or views and falls, and I have no idea. So I'm gonna pull up the pictures and see. I think I'm gonna do views and falls.
The route I'd chosen crossed over a rocky ridgeline pass and gradually made its way down a long but steep-sided valley heading towards the Willamette River. I thought to myself I'd made a good choice in coming this way. Where every single riverside campsite I could find was taken. The campgrounds, obviously there's spaces available in them, but there's a bunch of people there. So I'm keeping those as a backup, and right now I'm just driving up some random trail. Forest Service Road 2134-240. Yeah, I don't know. Tiny little Forest Service Road. Just looking to see what's up top. See if I can find a spot to camp. That's usually how some of the best campsites are found. Just take a random road.
Uh-oh.
You want me to open the windows? Okay, I'll open the windows. You ready? Peekaboo. You want this one open? We found ourselves a spot to camp. It is definitely not the best spot I've stayed at, but it's also not the worst. You got kind of views through the trees, which are okay. But it's breezy up here, which is a good thing because it's helping keep the worst of the little bitey bugs away. The mosquitoes are not out in force here, and I think if we'd been down in the trees next to the river, I probably would have been eaten alive. So I'll take it. This stuff's good, but it tastes so much better knowing that I don't have any washing up to do afterwards. If you're wondering what those blue bags are on the back of the truck, they've got stinky diapers in them. Unfortunately, I forgot the trash bag, the trash caddy that goes on my spare tire. I took it off, put it in my wife's vehicle, and forgot to put it back on. So I have nowhere to put those stinky diapers. I don't want them in the truck, and I don't want them in the alley cab. So I'm just hanging them off the back door. I've been looking at the maps this morning, and I have the option of continuing along the trail that I had planned. But I think for the next 20 miles or so, it's mostly paved. So I think instead, like I said, I'm just making this up as I go. I think instead I'm going to take one of these Onyx trails up to a lookout tower that's nearby. I'll check that out instead. You ready to go?
Yeah.
All right, let's load up. This is the second tree that I've come across blocking this road, and I probably could have driven past the last one, driven around it going off the road, and I could probably drive over this one, but I figured I'd clear it for everyone else, especially since I have this awesome saw. Love this thing. I used to carry a chainsaw around with me everywhere and just took up so much space. This takes up no space. Much easier. It really doesn't take too much longer unless it's a really big tree, in which case I'm probably not going to be tackling it with my little chainsaw anyway. I can't remember how much this was, but I got it off Amazon, and I remember that it was cheap enough that I was like, yeah, definitely go buy it, because it'd be super useful. So I'll put a link to it in the description.
Feeling pleased with myself for clearing the trail for others, I continued up the hill before rounding a corner and coming across this.
Well, I cleared the small trees for everyone, but unfortunately I'm not going to be able to take on this tree. Even if I had a full-size chainsaw, there's no way that I would tackle that. I just don't have the skills or the knowledge to do it safely. The tree is enormous, and unfortunately the truck's just not going to fit underneath, so I'm going to have to turn around. Well, that made me uncomfortable just walking underneath it. That's a pretty sketchy looking tree.
There is another trail that heads up to the lookout that's on Onyx, and that was the way I was planning on coming out from the lookout. But I've got to be in Bend. There's a show going on and this truck is in it, so I got a couple hours to get over to Bend and wash the truck, and I'll see you at the show.
Well, we made it in time and we're all set up. First stop here at the show was to get myself a huckleberry smoothie. I don't know, they're amazing. You can't beat them. I'm probably gonna go through like 5 or 6 of these today. So I'm gonna hang out here for a little bit. Got the little guys with me playing out here in the grass. So one of the things we've scheduled here is a meet and greet. It's 10 a.m. at the Ironman booth. Got a bunch of my friends here, fellow YouTubers, and David Jenkins, off the grind. For whatever reason, when he goes out with me, he always copies me with his outfit. And he's done it again here at the show. He's wearing his green t-shirt and his khakis. And I've got mine on. Can't go anywhere with him.
While I was having fun hanging out with friends and meeting new people, I was also there to pick up a trailer from X-Grid Campers. They're based out of Las Vegas and Knoxville, but had the icon from Lifestyle Campers on display and were letting me take it out for the week. At the end of the show, I hitched it up and headed west into the mountains.
We've just hit the trail outside of Sisters, Oregon, where we're going to pick up the Oregon BDR. We are airing down currently, and you may notice I got a little something behind the truck here. That is because Will, who invited me on this trip, is working with Lauren from X-Grid Campers. And since Will and Lauren and then Jake, who's also joining us over there, all have trailers behind them, I didn't want to be left out. So X-Grid Campers let me borrow one as well. And I'll show you more about that later during the trip. So Lauren, what should we air the trailer down to?
Sometimes we'll air down the trailers too, especially when it's really rocky, just to protect the tires, give it a little bit more flexibility. Haven't done the trailers on this one. I think we're gonna be okay on this trail.
I think just leave them where they are?
I think so.
So Lauren says not to worry about the trailer tires. It really doesn't look like this is a difficult trail, so the truck probably would have been fine too. This stage we're just doing it for comfort and helps with suspension wear and tear as well. If it does get bumpy or washboardy, you know, the tires absorb some of that. So I think we're ready to go, heading that way.
We were setting out on Section 5 of the Oregon Backcountry Discovery Route, one of a series of 13 routes from across the country.
Robert has stopped. So Rob just radioed in that he had to check something out. I've been sitting in the car waiting for him for a sec, so I look out my side view mirror and I see this, looks to be like a little bit of a murder scene. So let's see what's going on over here.
I was driving along and heard a really bad banging sound from the front end, and crawled underneath and looked, and my skid plate is hanging down. I'm missing both front bolts.
Oh geez.
On the skid plate is just flapping. Thankfully I have a bag of just random bolts that I carry with me, and I'm pretty sure I need M8, and these look like M8, all of these. So I'm hoping these fit, and this time I've got little split lock washers.
Oh yeah.
So I'll try that, see if that holds them in.
And this is the skid plate from, how do you say it?
CBI.
Oh, CBI, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
this is CBI skid plate.
Okay, gotcha.
But this is a Toyota, so this is very normal to lose bolts out the bottom. Usually they just rust and break off, though. These ones fell out. Yeah, so they haven't rusted out this time. They have actually fallen out. Ooh, that's hot. I don't know if that lock washer is going to help at all.
Worth trying.
Yeah, I wish I had a big fender washer I could put in between them.
So you think that's going to hold, Rob?
That should be it, hopefully. I should have put some Loctite on, but I think I left it in the GX. I've
Okay.
got one more M8 bolt, if not.
Well, we didn't make it very far before the first problem. We're just a few miles down the trail. I have had a lot of bad luck, a lot of problems lately that have interrupted all my trips. So hopefully that was as bad as it gets.
The original backcountry discovery routes were designed around riding a motorcycle, but almost every single one of them can be completed in a full-size vehicle. The total length of this section was about 76 miles, which doesn't sound like a lot, but when traveling with two families of four and your own toddler, it can take some time to get places.
We have a request to stop for a potty break. super cool fire lookout up above us.
You said that I changed. Well, maybe I did. Even if I...
Sorry for the dust.
This is a bad type of dust that makes complete whiteout.
There are some sections of this trail that are super dusty, so I think it's going to be a good test of how dust resistant these trailers are. And I think of the 4 of them, the one that I'm towing is probably going to do the best. I don't know, they may all be fine. But the one that I've got is the only one that has a positive pressure system with dust filtration built into it. So make sure I turned it on before we started. So when we get to camp tonight, I'll have to see how they look.
Will and Kate had the Teton X from Atlas Outdoors, and the Zebos had the Expedition Voyager, both made in Utah, while Lauren had the Australian Off-Road Sierra, and I had the Lifestyle Campers Icon, both made in Australia. The trails, although dusty, weren't much of a challenge for any of our trailers. These are not the mass-produced things you see at your local RV store. I've had one of those, and it would fall apart even on paved roads. These trailers from X-Grid Campers were designed and built around off-road travel. They have off-road tires, off-road suspension, durable construction, and are designed to expand one way or another, so they offer plenty of space while also not being too large for the trails.
We will be friends. I guess we'll see. I'll never let you go. 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 Around your back on each other. It's a good idea. Break a promise to your mother. Turn around, let's turn on each other. Good idea. Break a promise to your mother. Turn around, your back on each other. That's a good idea. Break a promise to your mother. Turn around, your back on each other. Good idea. I remember the stupid things, the mood rings, the bracelets and the beads, nickels and dimes.
There you go. Yeah. Had someone at the show bring me some fruit pastels, which is, I guess, candy that you can get in the UK. I haven't had it in 14 years. It's good stuff. Just munching away on them. He is too. Oh, yeah. Good, right? Yeah.
This is looking promising. This is really pretty. So we found this beautiful campsite that has a great view of the mountain, but it's a little tight for 4 rigs and trailers. I think there's gonna be enough room. We just have to make sure everybody can get back out. And so I pulled in, Rob's truck didn't do very well. And then Kate pulled in our truck. Now Jake and Lauren are gonna back their rigs down. So let's hope they get down there with no problems.
While it was all hands on deck with the adults getting the trailers back down the tight, narrow trail and situated, the boys were keeping each other entertained. The campsite we'd ended up in was in a fantastic spot. There was enough space for all of us and the trailers, and there was a lake to hang out next to with views of Mount Washington in the distance. Once we were all in place, it was time to set up. Both mine and Will's trailers had pop-up tops, which means standing room inside while you're at camp, but low roof lines for tighter trails and better aerodynamics. While Will was manually setting his up like a peasant, all I had to do was unlatch the top and push a button.
Alright, moment of truth. Let's see how it is inside. Looking good. There is not a speck of dust on those black surfaces, which is where I feel like it would be really obvious.
Alright, there you go.
I think I found Sasquatch. I was actually just hoping you'd fall in. Sure. See how far you can wade out there.
Before I get a leech?
I'll give you $5.
Okay. I see an eel! Just kidding.
Those are leeches. I do see lots of tadpoles. About this far, Rob.
Yeah.
I think you can go almost all the way across.
Alright, just give her a little push and I'll give you the other $5. 10, make it 10.
Better cost more than that.
For dinner tonight, we have reheated pizza from the other night when we were at the show. And this particular model doesn't have an inverter, so I didn't use the microwave that's in the back of my truck. But you can option it with an inverter, which obviously, since we're super lazy, let's just be honest, super lazy about dinner, we would do. Of course, we're gonna have some dressing, because otherwise he won't eat it. Right? Is this your favorite? You want more? Is it good?
As the evening went on, it started to cool down, and Will decided to set up his new propane fire that he'd bought at the show. Of course, he didn't read the instructions and just glanced at the picture.
It doesn't look right either.
It does not.
That's upside
I
down.
got it upside down. Yep.
That still doesn't look
Not
right.
looking right at all. This is a little bit of a problem with the design, don't you think?
The whole thing falls apart.
While he was blaming the tool, it was 100% user error.
This is a great fire pit, just don't breathe on it.
Finally, through sheer dumb luck, he got it figured out, and immediately got yelled at.
William, please, Louise.
I mean, that's amazing.
It felt good.
It did feel good. That's full blast.
That's off.
Like, if we just have it like this, is that okay?
The rest of the evening, we relaxed at the slightly reduced but wife-approved fire, watching the sunset and clouds form over Mount Washington.
So Lauren, you're about to take off here, man.
It's awesome. Thanks for doing this. You guys are gonna have a great time. You got a good trip ahead. Got 3 of the best trailers out there. So just get out, have fun, enjoy, give them a little bit of test. We're looking to see what you guys think of them when you get back.
Will do. Bye, Lauren.
Unfortunately, last night my son peed through his diaper and got all of his bedding wet. It was kind of cold last night, so
I had him in a sleeping bag, and then I had a kind of like a sleeping mat with a comforter on the top of it that we use. And he got both of those wet, obviously along with his pajamas. So this morning I'm going to wash it as best I can. Thankfully, so I put the water heater on this, turned it on really early on, so it's been heating. So I got hot water to wash in, nice sink here. Unfortunately, I didn't bring anything to actually wash with, like any kind of laundry detergent or anything. So I'm going to try shampoo. Hopefully that does the job.
Thankfully, the people I was with are incredibly understanding and laid back. They were happy to not only wait for me, but to play with my boy and keep him entertained while I took care of the bedding. The sink and kitchen setup in the trailer also made this a breeze. After washing it, wringing it out, and letting the worst of it dry, I got packed up and we were ready to head out.
I don't know if you guys saw, but we crossed the Pacific Crest Trail right back here.
We hadn't gone far before Will spotted a day use area at the edge of another much larger lake, and the kids asked for us to pull over so they could go for a swim.
We just stopped off at this lake out here. It's a beautiful spot for the kids to go swim in the water. The older kids, the bigger kids. My kid, right here, is way overdue a nap. He started falling asleep in the car when we pulled up here, so I figured I'd move him into the trailer here. And in the process of moving him, I woke him way up. So now he is going no nap. But we've been in here long enough. He's just been laying quietly and then did a little bit of playing. He's a little grumpy. But we're also now coming up to lunchtime, so he's probably hungry too. So we'll get that going, and then we'll continue on our way.
Dada. Dada.
You want more?
After an hour or so, we were back out on the dusty trails. Our route took us through scattered pines with views between the trees of the steep rocky peaks and rounded cones of Oregon's impressive volcanoes. One of the things about Oregon is it just never fails to amaze me. There's so much to see and so much variety in its landscapes. There's the rugged and rocky coastlines, rolling Siskiyou Mountains and coastal range, the scrub-covered and dusty high desert, flat open playa, steep canyons, and of course, the volcanic Cascades. If you have the time and the resources, this is a state that you just have to visit and spend some time in.
Downside to traveling with a trailer is it means that exploring side roads is a little more difficult, because then you have to worry about turning around or backing down if you can't turn around. So we took a few minutes to stop and look at the maps, the satellite maps on Onyx, and see if we can find some clearings where there might be a view. We've got 3 potential campsites we found within the next 5 miles or so. All off to the side, and all have a clearing big enough for us to turn around. So we're gonna go check them out one at a time. Well, I think we've found our spot and we've got the view we wanted. It's it looks like an old quarry. And just gotta drive across to the edge of it. This should be a good one. Oh, you like it? Are you pointing down into the quarry?
Yeah, that's a hell of a view.
Hard to beat that view, but this is not the most standard type of campsite we've ever been at, but I think it's gonna work great.
Yeah, that's a good find. On Google, oh no, on X.
While setting up, Will was happy to show off one of his trailer's party tricks. It has air suspension leveling. Meanwhile, I had to level mine with rocks like a commoner.
Well, we got our view that we were after. Turns out just scrolling around on the maps for 10 minutes to find ourselves a good spot on a ridgeline worked out really well. I like this one. Some kind of quarry, which is great because there's none of those mosquitoes around that we'd have if we were next to a lake or in the middle of dense trees. So this is a really good spot. We've also got a couple more hours of sunlight, so I'm gonna go over and hang up my son's clothing, or bedding, sorry, so it can dry. What? Yeah.
So tonight for dinner we're not just having burgers, we're having burgers that seem impossible. That's right, folks. We're not eating red meat tonight. We do eat red meat, we eat lots of meat, but tonight we're having impossible burgers. So I cannot wait for the comment section to start condemning me for having a non-beef patty. But guess what? They're delicious, they're clean, they're not fatty, it's easy to clean the dishes afterwards, so it's a good camping meal.
Unsubscribed. He's cancelled. For our dinner, or for my dinner, I've got some real meat. I'm doing microwave turkey breast and gravy, which is amazing. And then some nice Idahoan mashed potatoes, which are not so amazing, but they're just add water, so they're quick and easy. And then my boy's dinner, done his favorite, mac and cheese. You can't go wrong with this. So easy meals for me. None of these impossible meals.
Between the two of us, I'm not sure who has more processed food, so maybe we're both canceled.
Will, how is your non-meat meat?
I'm canceled or not? That's delicious.
We couldn't have asked for a better evening. The views were fantastic, but the opportunity to get to hang out and enjoy them with great people made them even better. And any quality time I get to spend with my son is time well spent.
So Will and I had already planned out our ending shots for tonight, and then of course he had to go get a sunset shot with his drone, and it did the weirdest thing where it would not descend, just kept going higher and higher even though he was pulling all the way down on the stick, until suddenly it just cut out and fell from the sky. So now we're on the hunt for the drone.
Again. Again.
Yeah, if you've watched my channel before, or Will's channel before, I think this is the third drone Will has lost in my videos, and then of course in his videos.
Yeah. Oh, many times. I really don't think this was my fault though.
No.
I think this is just bad luck. Something was wrong with the motors or something and it fell out of the sky.
Yeah, I don't blame Will for this one, although every other one has been entirely his fault.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah, it sounds like it's just up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's up there.
I could probably get up here.
You think you could?
I think I
It looks
can.
very slippery. And then you got, I mean, I guess you got
I got
strong
roots. I can try to grab.
Yeah.
Let me just.
Oh yeah, it's definitely up there.
Will took to the sky once more, chasing dreams he couldn't ignore. But the branches caught his drone. Now it's wrecked and he's alone.
I think we should just go around.
3 times now he's paid
Why?
the price.
Because you're gonna die.
Like birds in flight, but his drone kissed the ground. Tangled up without a sound.
It's a good thing you wore your tight pants for this.
DJ, I won't stand for this. Cut him off, they won't miss. 3rd strike and now he's out. No more wings to fly about.
We eroded half the mountainside getting up there, but he's up and he's off looking for the drone. We can hear it beeping in the background, so it's not too far away.
Will remembers all the flights in the golden morning light. Now the sky seems far away. Grounded here, he's forced to stay.
I thought you were gonna die. Oh yeah.
So this is what I found up there. It was kind of like this. It was kind of like a corpse, like a drone corpse, where things are bent the wrong way. And this is the other piece that was in the forest. But the gimbal was still working. It was like trying to level itself. Most important thing, I got the battery and the SD card. This is what I wanted to catch. Damn it. I would have too.
This sunset?
I was getting these beautiful shots of the sun, like sun flares coming across the screen or whatever, and then it went, and I was like, uh-oh. I thought maybe like a bird hit it or something. And then it started saying like altitude mode, alti mode. And so I started just bringing it down as fast as I could. I got it down, and I thought I was gonna be able to land it. It's about 100 feet above camp. And then it took off, and it wouldn't land. And the engines are usually like bzzz, and it's doing this like sound. So I think something got mixed up with the sensors, or maybe one of the propellers motor stopped working or something, and it was freaking out. That's my best guess. I'll send it into DJI and see what they say. They'll check the flight records and probably tell me it was pilot error.
Oh, should I put my drone up?
You should definitely put your drone up.
All right, I'm gonna switch SD cards first.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Good morning. Had another great quiet night last night, and obviously the views of the sunset were great before we went to bed. And I'm really enjoying having this trailer. It's super nice to have an entire living space inside the trailer. When you compare it to the other two, it's a little bit longer, but the weight is about the same, and it's kind of comparable, except I'm the only one with a living space inside. So, if we want to stop for lunch or we want to eat breakfast, we just go inside there, and that way I don't have to watch my son in case he runs off somewhere. He's contained in there. And of course I can put him to bed. It's got a queen size bed, like a true queen size bed, and then I can sit at the table and work, which is really nice. I only have 2 complaints, and I just found out that neither of them are actually legitimate complaints. The first one was that I can't get to the fridge from the inside, and Will just showed me how you get to it. It's underneath one of the seats. So this whole time I've been going outside to get stuff from the fridge and then going back in. I could have just lifted the seat up. And then the other complaint is that it needs a heater. It was really cold, not last night, but the night before, and a heater would have been nice for me and my son. And turns out that's an option. It's just not on this model. And it's not a cheap camper. When you compare it to the really cheaply, poorly built ones you find like World, then this is way more expensive. But when you compare it to like an off-road teardrop trailer, it's about the same price. And you obviously get a whole lot more for your money with this. And I just looked up Patriot campers because I wanted to see kind of a comparison between those. I saw a bunch of them at the show, and this is cheaper than all but one of the models on the US Patriot camper website. I'd go with this.
me to hold you? Yes. All right, now we're ready to go. Tell everyone bye.
Man, on these just regular forest roads, these trailers fly. They sure do. Super smooth. I like how these forests start to change. Like I'm seeing more undergrowth and bigger ferns and things like that. It's like pretty clear we're getting more into, you know, like wet areas of Oregon.
The roads we were heading into were darker and far more overgrown than the previous days, with trees and ferns climbing high either side of us.
Something that feels just very alive with all the ferns and undergrowth and the shade. I don't know, it's like, it's almost rejuvenating in some way.
I know this kind of road doesn't have those really grand views, but I still really enjoy driving through this dense, mossy forest.
After a couple hours of driving, we made our way down to Detroit Lake, where we'd planned to make just a quick stop for lunch.
So we stopped here at Detroit Lake, which is a beautiful reservoir, and the kids are having a blast. They're just swimming, and we had lunch, and you know, we just kind of sat down in the shade, looking at the view and the water, and it's kind of hard to leave. So we're just gonna stay here for a little while and try to figure out what we're gonna do next. How great is that? So the kids have been swimming for a while. Something tells me maybe they're starting to get tired. I don't know, what do you think?
Alright, who are we gonna push next?
See you guys, bye!
We had enjoyed our relaxing time at Detroit Lake so much that we decided to just stay. It's one of those peaceful and primitive campgrounds that sit deep into the woods with relative privacy, and they happen to have two spaces opposite one another available. While Jake and Will shared a pull-through spot, I had to back into mine, and it took a lot more time than I'd like to admit.
We ended up spending so much time down on the beach that rather than drive around forever looking for a place to camp, we decided to set up right here at the campground. There are two sites, only two sites available, right across from one another. So we booked them. Now I've got them. And actually this is a really nice campground. We're not on top of each other. There's a bunch of trees between us and the next person. Lake's just down there, so we can go down, swim some more if we want. And perfect time to take my son for a nap because he is exhausted.
So even though we're not really campground people, like this is a great campground. I mean, it's really nice. It feels relatively private. We got views out to the lake a little bit. It's really cool, lots of shade, all this beautiful fern and like undergrowth, and just really well kept. So if we're gonna do a campground, this is a good one to do. And we just had such a good day at the water. We just wanted to stay, and since we have no agenda on this trip, that's what we're doing.
Also, I think this is a good spot to put the shower to use. So the shower on this is on the back, unfolds. I'm gonna start up the water heater and get this set up. It's amazing how sometimes 3 different people can each independently come up with the same idea. As we started setting up our kitchens, we all thought about the restaurants across the lake that could prepare our food for us. All right, change of plans. We're airing up. There are some restaurants in town, and I'm hungry, and they look good. So we're all gonna go over to town and eat. It made for a great end to an incredibly relaxing and slow-paced day. Say what you want about it, I think we made the right decision.
What is it?
Yeah, the trailer, that's right. Trailer.
Good morning. We're getting all packed up, and today we've got some big plans, because Will is the bougiest person I know. We're gonna do some fancy stuff today. Well, he is. I'm just along for the ride.
I will say this. First, happy 4th of July, Rob. I know it's not your favorite holiday, being from the UK, but we celebrate it here for good reason. Second, yeah, we're gonna go wine tasting today. So today is for the adults. Chip's had a little bit of something for everybody. We're gonna go to a hip camp spot. Hopefully it'll be okay. And we're gonna go do some wine tasting. Why not?
Well, you are.
I will be tasting wine.
I don't like wine.
You will be doing...
I'll just be playing with him probably.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, if the camera's wobbling a lot, it's because my child is pulling on the tripod.
I got you, buddy. I got you. Oh, nope. He's very independent. He
Yeah,
wants to
no.
do himself.
He wants to do his own thing, which involves my tripod and camera. All right.
Yep. So wheels up in like 20 minutes. We'll hit pavement and see what this hip camp's like.
Yeah, let's get going. Approximately 40 minutes later, we were on pavement, heading west out of the mountains. The hip camp that Will had booked was in the Willamette Valley, Oregon's wine country.
So here's one of the cool things about having a trailer. We have the appointment to go wine tasting, so we can pull into this field, disconnect these trailers, kind of get things situated, and then we can scoot into town and go do some bougie touristy stuff. So I'm kind of liking the idea that we can leave our camp here and come back to it. While the Fowlers were off doing their bougie touristy stuff, I found something nearby that was way cooler and something that my son loves. The Evergreen Aviation Museum is just a couple of minutes outside of McMinnville, and while it has a great selection of aircraft on display, it's known for being home of the Spruce Goose, which has the largest wingspan of any single fuselage aircraft ever flown. Although the 125-ton behemoth is called the Spruce Goose, it's actually constructed out of birch plywood and resin. It was designed to be a transatlantic cargo plane during World War II, but was completed too late to be used and ended up only making a single flight in 1947. We spent our remaining time at the hip camp relaxing with friends and taking in our surroundings. If you're interested in getting a trailer for your adventures, check out X-Grid Campers. You can rent the trailers we were in, or check out their inventory of off-road ready campers at their stores in Las Vegas and Knoxville. I hope to take one out again next summer, and if you'd like to see our adventures, make sure you subscribe to the channel.